Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel here. Today I'm going to be doing something I haven't done in a bit, something a little bit different, and I'm going to be taking another look at Jawa. So I have taken a look at Jawa before, but that was maybe around 6 months ago or so, not exactly sure, but a little while ago. And I thought to myself, let's take another look at it today. Now, Jawa, as far as I know, is a USA only site. But most of my channel's metrics are from the USA, so it is valid for me to take a look at. And I just thought to myself, it's quite a famous site in terms of people using it. It's got some good press. So let's see what it's like now. Let's see what the prices are like, and just what's going on the site. So I know that the site is mostly second-hand parts. It's sort of like a curated second-hand reseller sort of site, and they also buy your stuff from you. So if you have like an old graphics card that you don't want to go through the process of selling yourself, they'll offer you some money for it. It won't be much compared to what you could get, but it's a convenience thing. So with that said, let's take a look at the website now. Let's see what's going on, and let's see what the value is. Let's get into it. So first up, the website pretty much looks the same, maybe a little bit more sleek. But you know, it's relatively clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a quick look and see what's available, and just see what sort of PCs they have on here. So little voucher coming up, get $10 off. That's quite a decent value. I mean, you could get like a stick of RAM with that or something. So that's quite nice. Nice to have. So let's take a look at this little list over here. So these are all second-hand things, and these are okay, so these are sellers with extended return policies. There's a little PC. I'll take a look at the PCs just now. I just want to take a look at some of the motherboards and power supplies and CPUs and so on. So here we have a PowerCo 800 watt bronze rated PSU for $27. It is on sale, saving 27%. Yeah, I don't know anything about this company, but the unit itself seems okay. It seems sort of standard. In terms of price for $800 watt, it's not too bad. That's about par for the course. Now it is. I don't know if I would purchase a second-hand power supply. But it does have a little description, used for 2 years and then placed in storage. And it powers the 3090 with no issues. So that's good to know. And this person does have a warranty. So, at least if you buy this and it doesn't work for you, you can return it. So that's a decent value. It's not too bad. Here's a 16 gig stick of RAM for $9. So if you get that coupon, you could get this stick of RAM for free. This is a Crucial stick. It's a sort of just a standard stick, 2400 megahertz. So it's pretty slow as far as DDR4 goes, but it is a big capacity at 16 gigs. I think it's the same seller, and this is also on sale, but only saving $1. Yeah, it's a very good value. It's an excellent value. Let's take a look at a CPU. So this is an unused Ryzen 7 5800X, 8 core 16 thread. Same seller. Only one available. And this is open box, but it's unused as claimed by the seller. $200 for a 5800X seems like a good value to me. I think this might be a good option for someone that doesn't want to buy one new but wants one that hasn't really been used, because this one hasn't been used at all. You don't get a cooler though, but I mean, for a CPU like this, you'll probably want to buy a third-party cooler anyway. So again, that's a pretty good value. Let's take a look at maybe like a motherboard or something like that. Here's a combo. So you get a i7-9700, a mini ATX motherboard, 16 gigs of RAM, and this is a different seller. So this seems like it comes from a Dell OEM, maybe like a pre-built, but it does have the standard 24-pin power connector and the four pin for CPU power. So yeah, this is not bad. I mean, it has a little Wi-Fi chip there, so it's definitely from like a pre-built or like an office PC or something. It has 4 DIMM slots, so this is actually quite a good. It also has an NVMe. I think this is an NVMe slot there. So if you just want to build like a little media gaming PC or something, this would be perfect. The CPU is more than fine for games. Yeah, it says here from an OEM desktop. It doesn't come with an I/O shield though, which might annoy some people, myself included. This is a 6-core CPU, so if you're someone that's just gonna like game, I would just go for this. This is perfect for games. I mean, if you buy this for $180, you get a case for like $40, and you get a graphics card for like $80. It comes with RAM. You need to then just get like a SSD as well. So you could have like a really nice gaming PC for like $450 if you purchase this. So it's a pretty good starting point, I think. Yeah. You can see the seller's ratings, which is nice as well. Okay, well that's so far the value has been pretty good. Let's go back to the main sites and just take a look at the PCs. I think let's go for the value. That is the sort of stuff that I build. Take a look at like maybe like a 450 watt dollar one. Don't really. Here's one. 466. Dell Precision 1070, 16 gigs of RAM, really slow RAM. Oh, but it is DDR3, so it's not that slow. Let's see. It's an interesting case. I haven't seen this pre-built case. So right off the bat, this value doesn't seem great to me. It does have a 1070, which is good, and it does have 16 gigs of RAM. But I feel like for around $500, you'll be able to get something a bit more gamer-y with this than this. So I'm not too sure. It has a Xeon CPU, a 685 watt power supply. I guess it's a stock power supply. A 1078 gig, 16 gigs of RAM. And yeah, I mean, for gaming, this will be okay if you play at HD. You'll be able to max out most games' settings and have like a good like 60 FPS frame rate. I used a 1070 not long ago in my own media PC and it did quite well. But I just feel like for this price, right around $500, I feel like you could do a little bit better. So I'm gonna say this one is a little bit of a bad value. Let's take a look at something else. Maybe go like. I'll be right back. Where was I? I was gonna look for like a $550, $600 computer. So let's see. Here's a $600 Alienware computer. So this has a i5, it doesn't specify which. 32 gigs of RAM, it doesn't say which speed or which generation. An RTX 2060, deep cleaned and upgraded. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the Alienware aesthetic, but I know some people are. It just looks a little silly to me. But let's see. It's an i5-8400, which is a 6-core CPU, 32 gigs of RAM, DDR4, doesn't say speed, and a 6 gig 2060. It has a 512 gig NVMe, and it just says brand new power supply, it doesn't say which capacity. So yeah, not the best listing here. I feel like more detail is needed because you need to know which power supply you're getting, what its rating is, what its capacity is. You need to know what speed the RAM is. And apart from that, he gives some frame rates, like benchmarks, but how accurate they are, I don't know. They seem a little high to me. I don't think a 2060 would get more than 100 frames on Shadow of the... Oh, this is Rise of the Tomb Raider. Well, that's a little bit of a strange game to benchmark because no one's playing that anymore. But even Red Dead Redemption 2 at high settings, 93 FPS on a 6 gig card, I'm not sure about that. But regardless, value-wise, not that great. You could probably get this for 450 if you got the parts yourself. So yeah, not a good value for me. Let's take a look at another one. Let's take a look at this one because this is only $50 more. And yeah, it looks a little bit better. So it has a Ryzen 5 3600, a 5700 XT, 1TB NVMe, and it has Wi-Fi. It also looks a lot better. It's a really clean and nice looking computer. So this says Forge Computer, so I assume that's a company. And this looks really cool. I don't know why they're showing a video from Zach, but yeah, the computer looks really cool. You can see these guys know what they're doing in terms of the listing and the general look of it. So it's a 5700 XT, which is a pretty good card. You'll max out most games at HD. The 3600 is a very good 6-core CPU. And how much RAM does this have? Oh, that's odd. It's odd that it doesn't say the RAM at the top there. Let's see. $16 gigs. So it's 16 gigs of DDR4. Again, no speed is said. 600 watt power supply, but it doesn't say which power supply. I assume that's because they have, like, a company like this have different parts, so they don't always specify, because it's sort of like a drop shipping thing where if you specify, you have to give that part, and sometimes you'll just take whatever power supply you have available in that 600 watt capacity. That's probably why they aren't saying the speed of the RAM as well, because they probably sell a lot of PCs, so they just use what they have at a given time. Although here they say all of it, so disregard everything that I just said basically. 3200 megahertz CL16 RAM, 600 watt Apivia Prestige unit, 80 plus gold. So yeah, it's pretty good components. 1 terabyte NVMe. This is a good value because it's not cheap, and you could maybe go for a little bit better graphics card, but it's really clean built. It looks nice. It's presentable. It comes with a big NVMe drive. It has Wi-Fi. It's got a good part selection, and I think overall I probably would build something myself for $700, but if you just want to buy a PC, this company seems like they know what they're doing. Forge Computers. Now I'm just judging off one listing, but I'm just saying in general it looks pretty good. I mean, the rest of these also look pretty good to me, and the pricing isn't cheap, but it's not overly expensive, so it looks pretty good. So let's take a look at one last computer, and let's go for, I actually want to go cheaper because but they start at 400, so it's a little bit tough. Let's take a look at page 2. Here's one for $471. Let's take a look at it. Gamer SXIN Custom 5600 XT i5 6500, 8 gigs of RAM, pretty slow RAM, and a 1 terabyte SSD. This is a unique case. It doesn't look too bad. It's an NZXT case, but it's sort of like a silver one. The motherboard looks like the same motherboard we took a look at, or similar at least, in the listing a while back. Graphics card looks like a normal Sapphire card. I'm not sure what's happening here. There might have been a sticker or something, but it doesn't look very good. I would probably do some effort and try and get that cleaned up if I were this guy, and I would put a fan in as well, because now it just looks weird. So we have a 6500, which is not a fast CPU these days. I do think it's a 6-core, which helps. If it's just a quad-core, then that's a little tough, but it doesn't say it is a quad-core. If you're spending anything more than $400, you want to get a 6-core CPU. That's just the reality of gaming now. Quad-core just isn't going to cut it anymore. Let's take a look at the parts. Great for 1440p 60Hz gaming. I'm not too sure about that. With a 5600 XT, nah, I wouldn't say so. 6500 i5 only has 8 gigs of RAM and it's pretty slow. It has a SSD 1TB, that's not too bad. 500 watt HP Omen Cooler Master. I'm not sure why he says HP Omen. Maybe he took it from an HP Omen. But it's got a 500 watt Cooler Master power supply, which, you know, is usually okay. Yeah, I don't know about the value on this one. You know, if it were like $400 flat, it would be okay. But this seems a little bit expensive for the quality of components that are in this. Yeah, not the best value for me on that one. So let's talk about the results of taking a look at the website. In terms of variety, they seem to have quite a bit of stuff. Like here is just like a general thing where it's just like a bunch of graphics cards, CPUs, chassis, games, even laptops. So I think they have good quality in terms of variety. But having taken a look at some of the computers, it seems like you have to search to find good deals. Because some of these deals don't seem all that good to me. Some of them seem a little bit expensive and some of the parts look a little bit damaged, to be honest. Now, some of the sellers on here are going to have better value than others, like that Forge Gaming. I was pretty impressed by their listing. But some of the more casual sellers, the value isn't that great. So I think a website like this offers a lot of convenience. But I think sometimes it might be better if you're someone that knows computers. I would say rather just buy parts. And you can buy parts from here. Like the parts didn't seem like they were too expensive. But instead of buying a pre-built computer, unless you don't know how to, I would say buy the parts and build it yourself. And just just clean up everything nicely, do cable ties, the whole shebang, and just make it look really good. Because, you know, getting a computer to look like this, it takes a little bit of time, but it isn't really that hard. And, you know, in this computer, you know, I didn't take a look at this one specifically, but this looks nice. But you can do this yourself. I mean, just take the time and clean it up nicely. So, yeah, even this one's value doesn't look that good to me. So, yeah, so I think there is a market for a shop like this, and there is going to be a little bit of a markup in terms of pricing. But for PC enthusiasts and people that build their own PCs, I think you can buy parts from here, but buying pre-made computers doesn't seem worth it to me. So, yeah. But all in all, I think the site is pretty good. It looks good. It has a lot of variety. And, of course, the site, you know, they monitor everything, but they don't set the prices. They're just a host. So, can't blame this site for high prices. But apart from that, I think it's a pretty good website, and it's pretty neat. So basically the short of it is the website is good. You might find some good deals on here, but overall things look a little bit pricey. Thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you like this kind of content. I like to, you know, work on PCs like that, but it's a little bit difficult sometimes. I don't always have parts. So sometimes I do things like these and I just take a look at shops and stuff. So let me know if you like this kind of content. If not, dislike. And I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers.